All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So, like I said in the title, I just watched the best MMA movie ever made. I mean, at least the best one I've ever seen. I would say the previous best one is Warrior. Great flick. Warrior is excellent. This was right there or better. And the movie's called Embattled, and it just came out. I'll tell you guys all about it. But real quick, apologies for the hiatus. I was filming with Sammy the Bull Gravano for my other channel, and we're going to be promoting his podcast. I'm going to be doing some work on TikTok, promoting it. And I might actually go back down there and do some more stuff with them. Like we did a really long interview, like it was at least an hour. He's telling me stories. I'm asking him questions, and I mean, the podcast is so sick. Like again, I cannot exaggerate to you guys how vicious this podcast is. Like, it's not like any other podcast I've ever heard. Like they got it's produced like a movie, like like sound effects, like the score sounds like a super intense movie where you're like, dude, I honestly can't even explain to you how good it is, man. It's so sick. But, he has a YouTube channel that just started a couple months ago. They already have like 60,000 subscribers just instantly. And they're doing everything wrong. Like, that's the funny thing, is the only thing they're doing right is Sammy makes such good content. But in terms of like what stories they're telling, what titles they're doing, anyway, I gave them some strategy tips where I was like, look, do this video, do this video, do this video. This one will do 500,000 views. This one will do 600,000. This one will do 1 million. Like, because he has so many good stories, and he also, like, I think what they're doing is they're trying to save all their best stuff for the podcast. Like they don't want to tell any like really good stories. They want to save it for the podcast, which is good strategy. But I told them, I'm like, look, all you have to do is just put John Gotti in the title. Like, you could tell a story about him ordering a bottle of wine, and that one will do a million views. It doesn't matter what the story is. It's all about, do a story about John Gotti, do a story about John A. Light, do a story about, Roy DeMeo. Like, those will blow up, man. Like, it's just about, it's, just minor tweak, and they'll have 200,000 subscribers overnight. But so I'll tell you guys one story about this, though. I mean, I already did a long form video on Jesse on Everything about my experience with Sammy and a bunch of background about John Gotti, Sammy the Bull, etc. But I'll tell you this one story that I didn't talk about on there that I thought about after. I'm like, man, I should have told that. So Sammy's a mastermind in terms of strategy and reading people, right? And you can just see, I mean, like, you guys know, if you watch my channel, like that's my gift, man, is sizing people up, like reading their body language. I could tell so much about a person, man, like just by looking at him. And again, Sammy, dude, like, as soon as you meet him and you look, I don't know what to make of him. Like, all I know is stories. You can't really see his eyes when he's filming. And all I know is he did 22 years. Like, he just got out, did 22 years in jail. Like, you have no idea what's going to come out, if it's the same type of person, whatever. He is still so fucking sharp, man. Like, and you could just tell instantly that this is a guy he's just operating on a different level, man. Like, he's just like, everything he does is he's reading you all the time. So when I first get there, I literally just got there, right? And they're like, so we're going to play the podcast for him, right? Because, because I'm going to be promoting it, and they want me to hear it so I can talk about it. And he goes, you don't have any listening devices on you, do you? You don't have anything that you could record with, right? I was like, no. He's like, because we'll shoot you. And I laughed, like, obviously, like, I know he's fucking joking. Like, so I laughed, and he goes, we joke around here. And I thought about it afterwards, after like spending, 3-4 hours with him. And I was like, oh, he was testing me right there. Like, he is, I mean, obviously he's fucking joking, but he's like, he on autopilot, now he's not just going to read people. He's going to press you a little bit just to see what kind of person you are. Because, a pussy is going to go in there and talk to Sammy the Bull, and they're going to go, because we'll shoot you. And they're going to shit their pants. And he's going to know. And he's going to go, oh, so, all right, we'll do this filming, but this guy's a pussy, Like, I'm telling you, when I thought of that after, I'm like, that's what he was doing. He's just seeing who I am, And I passed the test because I don't get fucking scared. Just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, so incredible. You guys can watch the much longer video about it on Jesse and Everything. But let's talk about this movie because goddamn. All right. So let me tell you, first of all, so the movie is called Embattled. All right. And it's interesting because, like, my main problem with MMA movies, as you guys will probably be able to guess, is the fight scenes. Like, anytime that anytime that there's a movie that has fight scenes in them, like the Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie, or like, I don't know, like that's where they lose me. Cause like there's, you know, they can make the movie awesome, but it's a fight movie. So like the climax is always going to be the fight, right? And if you got an actor, you know, you could train an actor and they can look pretty good, but they don't, you know, if you're a real MMA fan or a real boxing fan, they look slow, you know, like they look slow and they have shit form. Like it is what it is. Like that, they're not like, they're actors, you know, and sometimes they can get good enough to where you're like, damn, this guy looks fucking good. Michael B. Jordan looks good, man. He looks fucking good. And, but still the best actor boxer ever is Hilary Swank from $1 Million Baby, without a doubt. I mean, fucking without a doubt. Like she trained for like a year. She's a girl and she has the best form of any actor boxer like ever. Mark Wahlberg's been boxing forever. But no offense, Mark Wahlberg, but Mark Wahlberg is slow. Like he doesn't have like, you know, he doesn't have quick twitch. But yeah, so that's always been my struggle with the fight is like, you know, you build up, and then the fights you're like, you know, I can't watch this and have it be dramatic because these guys are throwing arm punches that are slow. You know what I mean? And that was the case with this movie also. You know, like this movie, the fight scenes were okay, but they were good enough. You know, like they were good enough. And they also, you know, like Tyron Woodley is in it and he's like the announcer. Kenny Florian's in it as the announcer. Like, it's hilarious. They talk about fighter pay. Like they talk about it's the WFA is the UFC. They talk about fighter pay. They talk about how they actually specifically were like the NFL pays 50% of their revenue to the players, 50%, to the owners or whatever. And UFC pays, or they said WFA pays 8. I think that's not right. I think it's actually 18, but in the movie is 8. They didn't make the owners look very good in this movie at all. But they didn't have anyone that looked exactly like Dana White. However, the main character for 100% sure is based on Conor McGregor. I mean, without a doubt. So the point of the movie is this, right? Like you have this guy who's the welterweight champion and the lightweight champion. He's like 37-1. He's like 38 years old or something. And he's been the champion forever, right? Like he's the biggest star in the UFC. He has fuck you money and he's a total fucking prick. He's American. He's drinking all the time. It's hilarious because this movie clearly, like they took like this caricature of Conor McGregor that's not really what he's like not, at least not really, you know. They took like the worst version of Conor McGregor and then they made this movie as if this is just what Conor's like all the time. Like, you know, and this guy had been separated from his original family, and so he has a son that he was, estranged from, who wants to be a fighter. And so the kid comes back into his life and he's training this kid, and the kid's super talented. He's a judo champion, whatever. But like the kid has blocked out a bunch of stuff from their childhood, and a bunch of stuff happened when they were younger, but the kid can't remember it. And you actually don't think that the main guy, Steven Dorfman's character, you don't think he can remember it either because he's a drunk. He's drunk all the time. That was a little bit ridiculous. Like, okay, I'm going to just say that. Like, they have this guy, like, drunk all the time. Like, literally, like, drinking at the press conference before the fight. Like, not like the Conor McGregor one where he's promoting his whiskey and he did this one time. He might have, who knows if he was even drinking for real at the Khabib one. They have him literally drinking from morning till night all the time while he's training. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, it really was like, let's take what the worst version of Conor McGregor is and then create a movie about it, right? So, anyway, there's a bunch of stuff going on underneath that the kid doesn't remember and he doesn't remember. I'm not going to get too far into the plot, but ultimately, because this is all in the trailer, some shit goes down and the father and the son are going to fight, right? Like, and the father and son fighting is like the big kind of conflict of the movie. So I'd seen the previews. Then I looked at Rotten Tomatoes. I had like an 85 or something like that. It's like a really good reviews. And I was like, I can't ever get excited about fight movies because, like I said, I know they're going to build up towards a fight scene that's going to kill it for me. The Fighter, that's the best fight movie of all time. Okay, The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. That's the best fight movie ever. If you guys have not seen The Fighter, get on it, dude. Get on it. About Mickey Ward, true story. Incredible movie. Fucking incredible movie. That movie, like, oh my gosh, man. Like the fight scenes in that one, my heart was beating out of my chest, man. Like that is the best fight movie ever, without a doubt. But MMA movies, the only really good one was Warrior. with Tom Hardy, and because Tom Hardy trains and he fights, so you look like the fight scenes looked really good, and also the story was really good. It's about estranged brothers, same kind of type of deal. That had, Warrior had much better fight scenes than Embattled, but Embattled's storyline was really good, man. Like really, really good. And again, like, every time there would be a fight scene, I'd kind of be like, oh man, like this is pretty good, but I can't really, but they did a good job editing it and hiding the fact that these guys are actors and, are not fighters. But yeah, I mean, afterwards, like at the end of the movie, like the last scene, I was like, fuck, that was a good movie, man. Like that was a really fucking good movie. And I was thinking about it afterwards. It's like, the like kind of last moment, like a really good movie. The very last moment sticks with you, like and you're thinking about it after and you're like, damn, man. And that's exactly what it's like. The very, very end, like the very end of the movie, you're like, damn, man. And like, there's actually an image associated with that you think about and you're like, incredible fucking movie, man. It is such a good flick. I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys watch it. And just go in knowing, like, these guys are not professional fighters, okay? They're not like, they're going to tell you this guy's 37-1 and he's the welterweight and lightweight champion. But like, you just have to know that's Steven Dorfman, okay? He's not going to look like Anderson Silva in his prime. Like, I mean, but they do a good enough job that it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. Trust me. Just watch the flick. It's fucking awesome. Anyway, that's what I've got for this particular video. I'm going to do another one right now about Tekashi 6ix9ine on my other one because, I wasn't intending on doing a bunch of things about, about like people who flipped on gangs. I just did the Sammy the Bull one, but this is totally unrelated. I just saw this interview with Tekashi, and I watched it. I was like, damn, that completely reframes him. I mean, it really does. Like, he was talking about why he cooperated, and I was like, oh, okay, he's going to give some ridiculous excuse. It's going to be, self-serving and bullshit. And after he got done, I was like, that changes everything, actually. Like, I would have done the same thing. Fuck those guys. And anyway, I'll talk about that in my other video. So go watch Jesse on Everything. I'm going to do a Tekashi 6ix9ine video. Obviously, he's not like a very sympathetic figure, but the story is very interesting, and for me, completely changes the game. Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace.